In the big race for AI dominance, all eyes have been on Google and Microsoft, right? But what if the real story, the real mystery, is the one company that's been almost totally silent? Apple. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on their secret AI war. Okay, just picture this for a second. You ask Siri to plan a date night, and it actually does it. It finds that perfect sunset spot, books a table at that restaurant you both love, and grabs tickets for a cool gallery nearby. You know, an assistant that is actually intelligent, proactive, an assistant that just gets it. I mean, that sounds like a total game changer, doesn't it? Which, of course, brings us to the billion-dollar question. Why is the Siri we have on our phones right now, well, let's be honest, so frustratingly useless most of the time? That's the mystery we're unpacking here. To really understand what Apple's planning, we gotta do what they always say, follow the money. Because while Apple has been saying almost nothing about AI publicly, their actions behind the scenes, well, that's a whole different story. For the past couple of years, the narrative has been super clear, right? You've got Microsoft and Google in this all-out war for AI, shouting from the rooftops about every single new feature. And Apple? It kind of feels like they've been left in the dust. But check this out. The actual data completely flips that story on its head. Since 2017, Apple has quietly bought more AI startups than anyone else. We're talking 21 companies, way more than their rivals. See, their strategy hasn't been to talk, it's been to buy. And if you've been following Apple for a while, this should sound really familiar. It is their classic playbook. Think about it. They weren't first with the smartphone or the tablet or the smartwatch. Their whole strategy has never been about being first to the party. It's about showing up last, making a huge entrance, and completely revolutionizing the entire category. And look, this isn't just us guessing. The CEO, Tim Cook, said it himself. He confirmed Apple has been working on generative AI for years. He said their MO, their whole method, is to get the product right first and then talk about it. So the key takeaway here is that this silence, it isn't weakness, it's strategy. But to really get why Apple needs this AI revolution so badly, we have to look at the absolute disaster that was happening inside the company. A bombshell report revealed the whole story behind Siri's failure, and man, it gives them the ultimate motive for a change. So, according to insiders, the Siri team was basically what they called a dumpster fire. And it wasn't a tech problem, it was a culture problem. The engineers were basically working blind. They weren't allowed to see the user data they needed to actually make Siri better. Leadership was so obsessed with control that they made writers create these pre-written, canned responses instead of, letting the AI actually learn. A massive rebuild project, codenamed Blackbird, was just scrapped. And here's how bad it really got. Internally, nobody had any confidence in it. The team building Apple's biggest new product, the Vision Pro, was reportedly so unimpressed with Siri that they thought about just building a whole new voice system themselves. I mean, wow, that's a huge sign that something had to change, and fast. So yeah, that's the mess they needed to fix. But sometimes it's out of that kind of chaos that a real masterstroke emerges. So let's talk about Apple's really unique advantage, what might just be their secret weapon in this whole AI race. Okay, so at the heart of their strategy is this big choice. Do you run AI in the cloud or on the device itself? Most AI you use today, like ChatGPT, that all happens in the cloud. It needs internet, it's a bit slower, and there are always privacy questions. Apple is betting big on keeping the AI right there on your phone. Why? Because it's way faster, it's much more private and secure, and it even works when you're offline. And this all connects back to a philosophy that has basically been Apple's DNA for decades. It was famously said by computer science legend Alan Kay, people who are serious about software should make their own hardware. Because Apple designs its own chips and its own software, they can get them to work together in a way that their competitors can only dream of. And the results of that tight integration are absolutely stunning. Apple's researchers just published a paper about a massive breakthrough. They figured out a clever way to run these huge, complex AI models on a device between 4 and 25 times faster than normal. And they did it by using the phone's flash memory, not just its RAM. It's a real game changer. Okay, so let's put all the pieces together. They've got the motive, Siri's failure. They've got the secret weapon, this super fast on-device processing. So now let's talk endgame. Is this the beginning of the next AI revolution? Here's Apple's true ace in the hole. It isn't just better tech, it's their reach. There is no other company on the planet that can push a brand new, way smarter AI assistant to over 1 billion active devices literally overnight. That kind of market access is an advantage that nobody else has. And the best part? This isn't some far-off science fiction dream. All the signs are pointing to the next big software update, iOS 18, as the launchpad for this completely new version of Siri. We could be seeing the start of this in just a few months. Which brings us right back to where we started. After all the internal chaos, after falling so far behind in the public conversation, is Apple just too late to the game? Or, just like they did with the iPhone and the tablet and the Apple Watch, are they perfectly positioned to show up last and surprise everyone all over again?